I never would basically would thought that episode 7 of Angel Beats would basically just be such a heavy episode. It really actually is. I'm probably not going to get down some of the emotional stuff really all too much, especially back in the past and stuff like that. Togenashi. I think Togenashi is pretty much one of my favorites, based on this anime, because I think it does kind of reflect on him, because he's pretty much the main male character basically in this anime. And you also have Angel also as well too. Actually, there's two angels, but it's hard to tell from who's evil and who's good and stuff like that. And basically stuff. Now, one thing I want to personally say, people will probably get confused, probably like which one's angel, which one's the good girl, which one's the bad girl. It's basically just hard to tell. To really actually just to see it, you just really actually just see it. I kind of want to personally want to say here is basically that angel that she's pretty much, or I was a Takari, whatever her name is, or something like that, whatever her name is, or anything like that. She's basically that she's supposed to, I think, just observe the students and just basically to protect the students and stuff like that. Maybe that's what she's supposed to do, or something like that. Could it be possibility that could that be Angel? That could be Angel's sister. There's no telling if that is a possibility or not. If that really actually is, nobody just doesn't really actually know if that really actually is. If it is the case, or maybe it's not, or maybe that it is, or something like that, or maybe we just really do not know. I think that this episode also well too hits on some levels that I've never seen before. Basically to be such a heavy episode. I will talk about just for a little bit, but not really too much. It does kind of reminds me of some different things, back in the past and something that when you have some of your family members, like some of your family members who are sick or basically whatever, and it's just very, very emotional. And it really actually is. And one thing I really want to say here is basically that when you talk to somebody about what happened back in the past, it's very, very, very hard for a person to not talk about it and not really say really that much about it. It's kind of like you shouldn't talk to a person that went to war and probably lost his brother and probably lost his brother's out there on the battlefield and stuff like that, because it's personal. It's very, very personal, and I don't think that people should not really basically ask those kinds of questions, because it's basically for me, I did, but I didn't know any better because I was naive, because not even to really realize how emotional that really actually is, because it does trigger a PTSD basically of the situation. And one thing I want to personally say here, when you lose somebody that's really so close to you, it can create a PTSD moment for that person. But see Takayashi, basically just to see him, just the way that he is, and just see how emotional that he really got and lost his sister. It's really sad. Now, I want to personally want to say is that is there a very good possibility that Takayashi is probably dead, or maybe probably he's still alive, or maybe that's just basically kind of like saying like maybe that he doesn't even care because that he lives or dies. That's kind of like what basically it feels to me, because he just really doesn't even care. That's not really basically the point I think a lot of people really need to understand. But I want to say here is basically that I feel sorry for Takayashi, and because it's really actually it's very, very depressing, and it's very, very heavy to lose someone very, very close to you, and it just really actually is. Like I said, when it comes to family, I definitely do understand. But when you have someone that, like, is your wife or your very best friend has been with you pretty much most of your life, it's very extremely hard. Take that as an instance for Alice, basically as for my girlfriend, or that used to be my wife back then. I don't want to talk about it really too much. It's nothing bad or anything like that. It's just that we just had some kind of, it's basically kind of money of the situation, because I had a disability check, and she had something more different, because we couldn't get married, because we had to get a divorce because of that. Not really separate from each other or anything like that. But it's a long story. But basically it's a long story, and then we just ran into some troubles and stuff like that. and we just weren't like basically I would say basically like not getting along too very well, but basically we're trying and stuff like that, and basically stuff like that. So I mean, me and her, we're fine, we're cool, we're fine, we're fine. Sometimes we have a little hissy moment, sometimes we don't, sometimes we do. And I think the person, personally, I'd want to say here is basically that I think that basically when I look at Alice is for that she does have a tendency to try not to remember those things and stuff like that. And the reason why I'm saying that because it's basically that you shouldn't say those kinds of things and stuff. Because sometimes that if you say those kinds of things, then it triggers and then it just makes that person emotional. That's what I see from Takahashi from right there. That's what it kind of reminded me of basically what I saw from there from Takahashi. It was kind of like Alice sitting right at the table, basically, right at the table and just like in tears and stuff like that because what some of the things what happened to her and stuff like that. And some of those things are kind of horrifying to tell somebody because the reason why I say that because they don't want to talk about it. Because if they don't want to talk about it, they don't want to talk about it. Just like I said before, that's just like what a soldier on the battlefield. If a soldier on the battlefield says like, hey, I don't want to talk about it or anything like that, or maybe something might trigger him to basically to do something do something bad that he really doesn't want to do. Sometimes people do snap just like that because going through all those situations and that not only because that happens to soldiers, but it can happen to other people also as well too, because people do get very, very attached to something that they really love. It could be a fish, it could be a dog or a tree or whatever it is that we really actually do love. And it could really basically set a trigger moment because that's why in our minds that we have like a PTSD based on that. But in the case of Takahashi, for him, that he doesn't really remember really that much. Anyways, he doesn't really that much really base it about his past. But when he starts to remember, it starts to sink back in and it starts to trigger that basically of that moment. I think basically is that it's not just because that Takahashi doesn't remember or anything like that, or maybe that he's not really actually telling the truth or anything like that. Maybe that he just doesn't want to talk about it. But like I said before, if there's somebody basically out there that, like I said before, if you were to ask somebody about that kind of stuff, if they say they don't want to talk about it, they don't want to talk about it. But if they talk about it, then they'll get very emotional and then they'll get very depressed. Very, very depressed. That's why I'm saying, basically with my girlfriend with Alice, there's some things that happened to her that was just not right. I'm not going to go into further details basically about that because it's very, very heavy. And basically talk to her about it and seeing her, cry on my shoulder and just to see that she lost somebody who was very personal to her. But I'm not going to get into details basically about that because I wanted to respect her. Because this is something that she really loved back in the past, but then like the turn of events just gotten worse, or I would say kind of horrifying. I would base a person will say, and basically stuff. So I one person will say here, like I said before, I do feel really bad for Takahashi for losing his sister and stuff, and basically. And it really actually is. And something like that. Now, one thing I've really wanted to say here is that I don't know if Takahashi is really actually gone, or maybe he's really actually dead, or maybe he doesn't want to go away because he got into a train crash, and because usually when you have accidents basically like that, usually more and more people would die in train accidents because train accidents are very, very tragic, and it's very, very tragic. You just don't know what's going to happen, and basically stuff like that. I kind of like the fact that Takahashi that he wanted to move on, but it's not just because he wants to forget about his sister, but because he always remembered his sister right up in his mind, because he always remembered his sister. That's just like always remember the loved ones that we love, and basically stuff. When it comes to basically some personal holidays and stuff like that, when it comes to our Christmas, Valentine's Day, Thanksgiving, or basically Halloween, or basically one of the most important holidays, I would definitely would personally would say, to me, it's very extreme. It's very extreme. And I'll name the 5 most personal holidays I would basically would say. Number 1, Valentine's Day. And Valentine's Day is can be very emotional for a person, and it could be a holiday that they don't want to remember. The reason why basis of that, because they just really don't. So, yeah. Number two holiday, Mother's Day. Mother's Day can be kind of basically a emotional factor for a daughter and for a son. Usually they don't want to talk about it because they really don't want to go into that state and stuff like that. Father's Day. I lost my father a couple years ago. That was hard on me, and I said a couple times before, I wasn't there at the funeral. I really wasn't there. I regretted that for the most of my life, and it's just now I have to live with that, and I have to live with that for the rest of my life. And so I'm not looking for the Father's Day next month. Number 3, Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is also can be a holiday, like when you have like you say, like, oh, we have most of our family members and stuff like that, but guess what? They're not really there, but they're gone, and stuff like that. Spending time with the family, it's very important. It's really actually is, and stuff like that. And just have a big gathering of a family, just to base of that. And number 4, Christmas is the same way, but Christmas is very extremely special for a lot of people, because the reason why I basically said that, because it's the spirit of it's not the spirit just of giving, it's the spirit of celebrating the life of what Jesus did for us and stuff like that. And I have to say, personally, the one of the most personal holidays, I would personally definitely say that a lot of people would just disagree with me on this. And it's basically number 5. It's not really considered as a holiday, but I would consider it basically something special more than just a holiday. And I would personally definitely say is a birthday. A birthday is very special when it comes to basically of your daughter, your son, whoever it is. It's somebody, having that birthday, it's a special day. It's your special day. God gave that to you and stuff like that. And I understand a lot of people probably don't believe in God or anything like that. And I totally respect that. And I'm not going to push the whole subject just based on people, because people definitely do have a choice. They do, and they do. Sometimes they don't want to. Sometimes they do. And I don't want to get too really much about that. But the reason why I picked the birthday, the last one, because it's a very emotional day that it can be for a lot of people that basically, they will probably miss their sister, their brother, their grandma, their mom and dad, and usually they give them like a birthday cake, and they put candles on the cake, and they say like happy birthday to you, and stuff like that, and they give you like really nice presents and stuff like that. And I think those memories are very personal. And the reason why I'm saying that, because I think happy birthday is a very personal situation. The reason why I basically say that, because like I said before, it basically really actually is, because like when the older that you get, the older that you feel like that you're alone. And now I begin to understand why some people would basically say like, basically with my grandma's like 84 years old. She's, she can't remember really a whole lot of things. She might remember some things or something like that, but even though she doesn't really remember, even though she can still drive, she can still walk and stuff like that, and basically stuff, and basically stuff. And the reason why I'm basically saying that, because she doesn't want to be alone. She really doesn't. I call my grandma like every single day just to make sure like if she's okay. And usually Alice, my girlfriend, usually help me out with her and stuff like that, which I definitely do appreciate that. But like I said before, when you become basically like going up to that age and stuff like that, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. A lot of people will probably say it's not going to happen to me. And if you say it's not going to happen to you, it's really most likely it is going to happen. That's just a part of life. Some people will probably say like, why God put us through this situation? I don't know why. I don't know. I'm not God. I don't have all the answers. I mean, I really don't. So yeah, but I would personally say here, just end this off just for a little bit. But I want people to basically to understand, people to really understand that Jesus loves you, and He really does. And He gave His life for you, for all of us. And I think He really actually is. But I'm not trying to preach or anything like that. But I'm just saying, because the reflections basically of this episode really actually is. I know this may not be the part of the episode, but I think it is part of something to understand and to learn from those things. And I want people to understand that. But if some people really don't seem to really understand that, that's fine. They can choose to basically, they don't want to or not. It's their choice. It's actually your choice. It's my choice. I made the right decision because I know I did. So because I'm happy. But that doesn't mean I'm the most likable person basically all in the world. But that doesn't mean God chose me just for everything. So I know I probably said that this video was not going to be too long, but I got carried away a little bit. But I just personally just want to say that, and I just really want people to really just to know that's what I see, and that's how I feel. So yeah. That's it for this anime review. Tell me what you guys think. Love to hear you guys' opinions and stuff like that. And you guys like this, some you guys don't like it. I understand, some of the personally of the things, basically that it can be very, very heavy for some people. For some people, may not really don't want to talk about it and stuff like that. So yeah, anyways, I'll see you guys later. Take care. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. Don't forget to subscribe. Please consider subscribing. Please hit the like button, give me a thumbs up, or give me a thumbs up, doesn't matter to me. And please leave a comment. So, anyways, I love you guys. Take care. I hope you have a wonderful day. Take care. God bless. Remember your story. I love you guys. Please safe. And remember, stay blessed. Love you guys. Take care. Bye.